Yay. All right. So now we can have our little interview. Um, so welcome, Laura. And I invited you to do this interview just because your story is so inspiring and you've been really leaning into what you're learning through Ayurveda and running some really cool experiments along the way and experiencing some really great results. So before we get to all of that, will you do a little introduction? You heard me introduce you with
And you
little
did a
little
really good
bits of
job.
info.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
good.
yeah. I'm Laura Grantham. I live down in Abingdon, Virginia, with my husband Jerry. We own a pretty large farm down here. We used to do cow-calf cattle operation, but we've retired since then and now lease that to a really nice gentleman. So we get to enjoy all the cows and the calves without actually having to do all the work. Um, my career was a wildlife biologist, and I retired around 2000. And right now I am a yoga teacher. I teach at White Top Yoga here in Abingdon, and I teach 2 times a week. I really love the slower flow, yin, restorative yoga nidra. That's sort of my niche of teaching. And I'm really, really fortunate to be able to teach in such a wonderful environment like White Top Yoga.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you all might know too that I've done a lot of partnering with White Top Yoga. And so Laura and I actually met. I came to one of your yoga
You
classes
did.
like a few years ago, I think, or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And so I got to be in her yoga class, and then she was like, "Oh wow, you do Ayurveda," and then yeah, a couple years later, here she is in the Vitality Circle. So very, very cool. So what what would you say? Like, how would you describe your life prior to joining Vitality Circle? Like, what were some things that you were noticing were challenging, or where were you struggling?
I had a lot of challenges, to be quite honest. Back in my 30s, I was experiencing a lot of fatigue. I was working full time. The kids were small. I was just, I mean, really mentally and physically and emotionally exhausted, depleted. Um, I was finally diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is a autoimmune thyroid condition. Once I got on the medication, I started feeling a lot better. Um, but then we left Michigan. We moved back down to Virginia, bought this farm, got it up and running, and I started feeling this same really familiar fatigue syndrome setting in again. And it took several years, but I was finally diagnosed with celiac, which is also an autoimmune disorder, and come to find out that it's actually very common if you have Hashimoto's to develop celiac as well. So yeah, that was not fun. I just didn't, I felt like I had no control over my energy levels at all. I've had 2 breast cancer scares. I had biopsies, and then finally was diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2022. Had surgery and radiation for that. I'm doing really well. And then I was diagnosed with histoplasmosis, which is a fungal lung disorder. So it's sort of like, okay, I'm really tired of all of this. I'm tired of feeling tired. And I just knew something different and wasn't doing enough to help me. So I've always been interested in Ayurveda, especially it being the sister science to yoga. I have worked with a practitioner down in Asheville and enjoyed it. The whole premise made sense to me, but I just didn't have my dose with
Laura, you're
this.
breaking up quite a bit for me. I don't know
Huh.
if for other people, Judith or Anne, could you? could you comment? Is she breaking up for you? Okay. That looks more stable now. You're getting little blips.
Okay.
Such a good story, and I don't want people to miss. Um,
Well, I mean,
let's see.
just getting, is it better now?
It seems to be,
Okay.
yeah. So we heard a little bit. Oh, Judith says yes, it's breaking up. Um, yeah, I don't know if your signal would be better somewhere else or um, anyway, I just want people to really hear your story. Yeah, so we heard little blips putting together the Hashimoto's, then celiac, and then the breast cancer, and
Okay.
then
Let me go inside. Maybe I'll be closer to my Wi-Fi router.
okay, it seems to be good right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, of
But
course it will. um, Basically, I was working with a fellow down in Asheville an Ayurvedic practitioner. And I really enjoyed learning about Ayurveda, but it was like scratching the surface. Uh, all the pieces weren't coming together. Um, it was like I knew enough to be dangerous, but not enough to really reap the benefits. So I kind of, and then just, life got in the way and I kind of just stopped doing it. And the reason why I said yes to the Vitality Circle is primarily because two friends were in it and were experiencing some really major life affirming changes in their, mind, body, and spirit. So I was tired of being tired all the time. And I'm like, okay, this is the time I'm going to make this investment in myself.
yay! And so, will you share a little bit about what you know about yourself doshically at this point? Like
Yes.
how you understand yourself? I know that wasn't on the questions I gave you, but I think you can speak
Yeah,
to it.
well, interestingly enough, I was definitely in a kapha imbalance when I was working with the practitioner. And I am kapha, but I'm also vata, which, is my artistic, sort of kind of be spacey, uh, part of me. And that's the part that was missing is I was just trying to balance kapha all the time. And I was not balancing my vata part. So it wasn't working. It wasn't working. And I did not understand exactly why. And a part of that is, I definitely am in the vata time of life. I'm 65. But I also didn't understand the seasonal effects on each dosha. And again, by just trying to balance kapha all the time, I was definitely in vata imbalance a lot of the time.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I love hearing you be able to like speak about that so clearly now. It's like you can see how the seasons affect, how your life stage affects all of that. And this is part of why Vitality Circle is a year long, so that everybody gets to go through each season and see how things change. And it's really powerful when you really tune into it. Like when we're in the seasons of our predominant dosha or imbalances, it can feel really challenging, but having the tools to balance it is awesome. So Laura's been gaining more and more tools. So, what has changed for you since you've been in the Vitality Circle?
Well, the first thing that just springs to my mind is I have energy again. I can do
Yay!
things that I love to do without worrying about, am I going to be exhausted? Am I going to pay for this tomorrow? And that's just, to me, that's exactly what I wanted. It was just like, this is a dream come true because I I like to garden. I like to go fishing. I like to hike. I like to ride my horses. there's so many things that I want to do. And as Hannah knows, one of my main reasons for signing up is that, sometime I hope to be a grandmother, and I want to be that really fun grandma. I want to be the one that takes the grandkids on horseback rides and go camping and fishing and all that kind of good stuff. I don't want to be the one that just has to sit there and wish I could do that with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really powerful, having a strong why. And back to like the intention setting around what we do in Vitality Circle is we do need a strong enough why of why do we want to feel differently than how we've been feeling, part of it is the immediacy of like it feels good to have energy and I enjoy doing things, and then there's this bigger why of like I hope to have grandchildren one day and I want to be active with them and be able to play with them and pick them up and take them on trips, and that requires health and vitality, and that's a really strong why and an investment for the future. Right?
Absolutely.
It's not just immediacy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then also part of, because I am, I have a science background, I'm just intensely curious all the time. And just getting that deeper understanding of my personal constitution and what it needs to thrive. And then being able to give that to myself. I mean, for me, that's huge. It's not a pill. It's not a medicine. It's a choice. It's just, being able to have the ability to make good choices and then reap the benefits. It's amazing. And
Yeah. I love, okay.
I was just going to say, I'm one of these women, and I know there's a lot of them out there that have had a very complicated relationship with food throughout my life. Um, and, I have lost weight, and I'm happy for that. But I'm happier that I just have the energy. Because what if I lost 10 pounds and didn't have the energy? Ugh, so what? My clothes may fit better, but I can't do anything about it. That's for me, that whole sort of mind shift is really incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said about like I understanding my constitution, I can know what I need and give it to myself. And so much of what you're speaking to is self-care.
Yes.
And our culture has such a struggle with self-care. Like we think of self-care as like, taking a bubble bath or, taking a, I don't know, getting a massage or something, which are nice things to do. But what you're speaking to is true self-care. It's to be like, I understand myself. I know how to like tend the garden of my life, which is unique, right? And being a Vata Kapha combination is a little tricky because in a lot of ways they're direct opposites.
Yes.
And so Laura is getting to, learn how to really tend to herself in this way that's like not some sort of, fad diet or mainstream, you know, technique or something that's like, here's the like whatever paleo or whatever. It's like very specifically, how do you get to know yourself as a Vata Kapha combination and how you tend to yourself. And like the Kapha imbalance needed to lose a little weight. The Vata, needs to not be too light because then it gets out of balance too, right? And so there's this balancing act that's so powerful when you understand it, So a lot of people, when asked, might say, "Oh, I'd like to lose weight," and that's kind of a first level,
Yeah.
right? And if we go deeper,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, some weight loss is nice, and then having more energy, having more inspiration and spaciousness too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you don't have energy, it can feel like you don't have time for things. When you have more energy, it's like space and time open up. So I just love that you're getting to experience that. Um, I also wanted to mention that you've had changes with your sleep too,
Yeah,
and that ties into energy and weight loss and all of those things. Do you want to say anything?
absolutely. I mean, I'm one of these people that I've been taking melatonin for years and blah blah blah, and I don't take the melatonin anymore. I when I go to bed at night, I'm ready to go to sleep, and my husband and I both we go to bed with the cows and get up with the chickens. That's an old farming thing. So we go to bed early, and that's fine. We get up early too. So that works really well in that whole Ayurvedic cycle. But
Check.
I have really good sleep, and when I wake up, I'm not tired, and that's a changed thing for me. So waking up and being like, okay, let's go get them for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people who are 65 might just say, oh, I'm 65. I wake up and feel tired. That's just the way it is. And I think it's also important for us to recognize that we can tell ourselves certain stories that normalize how we're feeling, and we can also question those, right? So for
Yes.
you, kudos to you for saying, like, I actually would like to see if it's possible to feel more energetic, or to wake up in the morning at 65 and be like, I feel great. I'm ready for the day. And and so we're not just accepting that as the norm, right? And my focus for my mission for my business is to alleviate unnecessary suffering, and that's like a very, maybe small, we would say, suffering is like to feel tired all the time, but it's huge.
Yeah.
It's like your whole outlook changes, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really key, for sure. What are some aspects of the Vitality Circle that you really love?
Well, you know, the relationships that I have been developing with the other members, the other women, and in particular, a shout out to Anne and Judith, because we're here in Abingdon and we do get together and have our little session of, what's working, what's not, which is just incredibly invaluable. But we're all different. All of the members of the Vitality Circle are coming at this in so many different directions. Yet Ayurveda is able to have a path for everybody, right? So it's like one truth and many paths. Um, so yeah, other people that might be younger or they're more pitta or something like that, and you'd think, wow, I have nothing in common with them, but I do. But I do. And we get to see these challenges and learning how to be vulnerable and share when things suck, and not be apologetic about it. Just say, I am having a rough time. And then having the support of people, it's like, I understand, and they're not telling you, oh, well, you need to do this, but you need to do that. And why haven't you been doing this? There's no judgment. There's just support. And I think that that's really, really important in a program like that. Um, Also, I have to say that you, Hannah, you are so real in sharing your own struggles and how you came to be where you are now and being able to help others. Because there's so many people out there that are like, do what I do and you'll feel fabulous. And you're just like, yeah, I just want to throw up. And, but, and then, and you make mistakes and you own them. And so it's like giving us permission, like, oh yeah, the solid B minus. Yeah, I could do that. There's no blame, no shame. We're all struggling. We all make mistakes, and it's okay. Learn from the mistake and go forward. You might make it again and again, but eventually you're like, I don't think I want to do that anymore. So yeah, Hannah, shout out to you because you hold space for all of us.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're not so focused on perfection.
No, right.
Like,
We're
we're
not perfect.
human. We get to be human. We get to be human together. Kind of like a
Exactly.
community where we can be like, and how are you human today?
Yeah.
Instead of having to put on this face of like, everything's perfect. But,
Exactly.
um, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's, that's awesome. Yeah. And the relationships that get built in this community are so incredible. And I just feel like, yeah, I'm holding the container and, then the magic happens with the mentors and accountability partners. And yeah, you all getting together where you live in person is such a great support and benefit. Um, so yeah, that's really, really
And
fabulous.
when we
Um,
and when
so
we have workshops too, I mean, these people that I see on the screen 2 times a week or so, it's just like you get to see them and it's like, oh my God, how are you? You're just so happy to see them because you know them. They know you. It's just really incredibly special.
yeah, yeah. And so there's the community aspect of the Vitality Circle where we are on live calls twice a week together via Zoom. And then there's one-on-ones working with me and with a mentor. And so everybody gets individual tailored support and then also the group connection. And I think it really is like harkening back to that we are communal creatures and that we really thrive when we're in connection with other people, and especially in our culture where women have been pitted against each other so much. It's really helpful to be like, this space is like we're just in community and in support of ourselves and each other, and there's a lot of shifts that happen there. And it's beautiful to be witness to. So I love watching your evolution, Laura, and how that's really shifted for you. And I've seen you really come like out of your shell
My
more.
shell, my lurker shell. Yeah,
Yes.
you're a lurker, but yeah, I've been inspired by so many women who've been brave enough to say I'm having a hard time, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, well, I have a hard time too. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also to share what's going well, right? And be like, yay, and we can celebrate that together too. And
Yeah.
it's all of it, the humanness of it all. What would you say to your former self when you were or thinking about the Vitality Circle? Because you knew about Vitality Circle for a while before you
Yeah,
decided to.
I did. And I knew that I was in a stage of my life where there was too many things going on that I just didn't feel like I could commit to the program and really give myself the time that I need to do this. And, as women, we tend to be the givers, the nurturers, we do for others, before ourselves, to the point of depletion. And it's really hard, as you said, for us to do things to help ourselves, to replenish ourselves, to nourish ourselves. But you know what? When you're so tired, physically, emotionally, whatever, you can't take care of other people maybe the way you want to, much less yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I know people have brought up cost, and this is an investment. This is how I feel. This is a personal investment in me. And I have decided that I'm worth it. That I was going to give this a try because I really wanted to feel good again. And this investment in my future self, I'm 6 months in and the payoff is already incredibly rewarding. So I'm really happy about that. And probably if I were to say to someone who is considering this, I would say this is an opportunity to learn deeply about yourself and to celebrate who we are and learn how to nourish ourselves. And in doing so, you find that it becomes easier to not only nurture others, but also to have the energy to do the things that you really love to do in life. And that in itself is also nourishing.
Wonderful. Yes, it's so true. And how many spaces are there in our lives that hold that intention for us? Like it's pretty rare,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a lot of things that want us to give to them, but to really like fill our own inner cup and be like, who am I and what do I need to thrive? And then how do I take those tools and those pieces of learning into the rest of my life? It is such an
Mm-hmm.
investment in the rest of your life. Like I love what you were saying back to the beginning where you're like, I want to be a really active grandma one day. You know, it's like having these tools now gives you a return on investment for the rest of your life that
Exactly.
helps you be
Now,
everything you want to be.
yeah, it helps me now.
Yes.
I'm enjoying life now.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's like don't delay. Yeah. So yeah, and it is an investment and of time, of your energy, of your focus, of financial resources, and that's
It's
that's
huge.
what it is. It's an
It's
investment
huge.
that pays off.
It's
Yeah.
huge, but it's worth it. It is, yeah, when you look back and when I look back and see everything that's changed so far in 6 months, like, hell yeah, I'll do it 2 times over again, to feel
Yeah.
this good, to feel this good.
Yeah. And it's like it's waiting for you. I think so many of the women that go through Vitality Circle are like, I wish I had done this 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's like, why did I wait? But you don't really know until you're in it either, because it is a whole different paradigm of like how, like investing in ourselves. Like, no, we generally would, use our financial resources, especially differently.
Yeah.
And so this is a big shift, and the return on investment is just like, you can't even fathom what it is ultimately. So Laura's halfway through Vitality, the year of Vitality Circle. This is her, she's just starting her third season this week. And so it'll be really exciting to see what transpires for you in the second half of your year. And a lot of folks, would be like, you might look at Laura and be like, well, she's done. Like she achieved what she wanted to achieve. Part of what we're exploring here too, where it's like,
Nope.
nope, is the potential. So sometimes it's beyond what we can envision or what we initially seek. And then it's by practicing Ayurveda, we get to witness like, what does it feel like? What does it look like to be more and more and more in rhythm and to go through the seasons? Like, you haven't been through our fall, right? The autumn and the winter. And so you did come in the
I
winter.
did.
You
So
haven't
summer
been
and
through, yeah,
fall.
summer and fall, right? And so that transition from Pitta to Vata, like that's going to be a whole new learning for you, and your Vata is going to get way more tended to than it has. And so that learning is going to be just so rich, and new things will new gifts will appear along the way too. So very, very exciting. So thank you so much for sharing and joining me today and navigating technology. Is there anything?
A little rough start, but that's okay.
That's totally fine. We persevered. Um, yeah, is there anything you would like to say in closing? We will be opening up Vitality Circle at the end of this month, at the end of June, for our next cohort to come in. And so, yeah, is there anything you'd like to say in closing? People who might be considering this, or folks that are wanting their health to shift?
Yeah, I think I just would like to revisit the fact that, as women, we don't tend to take care of ourselves enough. And we're expected to do so much. All of us are mothers, sisters, daughters, and it's wives. And there's a lot on our plates that we don't give ourselves credit for just getting through the day. But be able to get through the day with vitality and with energy and with grace and compassion, that's, to me, that is just, that's the pinnacle. That is the pinnacle. Just being able to nurture others if that's what's needing to be done, but also to nurture myself and know that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be ready to go, have the energy.
Yeah. And nourish yourself.
And nourish myself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Laura. And I can't wait to see what the next 6 months holds too, and to
Yep.
watch it all unfold for you. So thanks so much for sharing your story with us today. And I hope that you all watching enjoyed. Um, Judith says, Laura, glad you're not lurking anymore. Yes. Me too. Yeah, great. And I think that is like part of Vitality Circle is, coming in maybe being a little more shy or introverted initially. A lot of folks then kind of come out of their shells or feel more comfortable sharing who they are, because really everybody's celebrated. It's not like, fall into line with the other sheep. It's like, who are you uniquely, and how do we get to know and celebrate and love you? And that's what we're exploring with everybody. So yeah. Well, thank you all who are watching live. And if you're watching the replay later, give us a hashtag replay, and we'll see what Laura inspires in our community here.
Thank
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.